Concede. And don't look at this concession as a loss. Look at it as liberation, because you were fighting a battle that you shouldn't have been fighting. You shouldn't, as a customer, care more about the material that, let's say, these entertainment companies have, the properties that they're now in control of. You shouldn't care about that more than them. Okay? You shouldn't care about that attention to detail more than them or anything. It's worth talking about, pointing it out, making fun of them, laughing at them, telling them how much they suck. But as far as like paying them and shit, or rather expecting them to come to give you a good product, there's no reason to do that whatsoever. One of the points that I brought up many times is that, plain and simple, people have placed their activism, and this is why so much visual artwork sucks nowadays, because some folks have placed their activism above the art. What that means is that what social statement can they make is the first and primary thing that they are trying to do with whatever it is. And quite often that doesn't make sense for the character, or it makes for bad story being told, mainly because you're leading with something that is completely detached from that. So the activists took control of these industries, namely the comic book industry. They took control of it. Now, when I say control of it, I'm not saying of the entire industry and like they don't control me and I'm entering the space. We're speaking more to what has existed before. So the legacy stuff, the stuff that's been around for so long that you grew up with, that is even become staples of American culture, DC, Marvel, stuff like that. That's all controlled by establishment leftists, period. Okay. So looking at it like that, you have to expect, and I'm going to always cover stories like this because I want you to understand I was right. And it ain't just to be cocky and be like, yeah, I was right, you stupid motherfucker. Though I love to tell some of y'all that doubt it. Yeah, I love to spin in my chair like raise the fist and say, fuck you, I was right. But the reason being is you have to acknowledge the problem if you're going to acknowledge the solution, or if you're going to come up with one. Now, my solution is simple. Fuck these fucking guys. And let's create better alternatives with updated economic models that are suited for the day and age that we live in now. We're still operating on this old fucking model. Everybody done sold off their fucking rights. We don't have to do that anymore. We're well past that. We got a direct line of sight with our audience. Fuck these fucking guys. Batman Fortress. We're going to talk about it again. This activist, Gary Whitta. And he doubled down. So he got criticism, rightfully so. He got criticism. And we covered this. This was the goofy page that had Batman. It was a place being looted, a bunch of stuff being looted. People were in there ransacking the place, clearing out TVs. And instead of Batman, I don't know, dealing with it like Batman would, and like at least dropping some goddamn tear gas to shake the spot up, he has this has this conversation in his head essentially, and he's saying that protect the little fish and all of that shit. And he says they have insurance. It's not on him to look at their profit margin. It's like, well, Batman would never say that. That is not Batman. And that's just some regurgitated leftist nonsense, because that's exactly what they said about the summer of love in 2020 when people were looting. It's just stuff. It's just property. Who cares? They have insurance. That's all that it is. So he doubles down, and this is the page, and we had looked at that, but he doubles down on this, Gary Whitta, and this is what he said. Any negative review I get from a right-wing critic, remember, anybody to the right of Mao is a right-wing critic, can't stomach the thought that Batman might have a social conscience, goes into my positive review file. Thanks for this. They're spiteful, guys. Gary Whitta in that says, it pissed off the people that I don't like and I don't agree with politically, and that's positive for me. I don't give a fuck if I sat and took a dump on your favorite character. He doesn't care. And this is why I continue to say, like, they're all in on it. Even these people that you think were respected, the Jim Lees of the world, they're all fucking in on it. Think about the level or the different levels that all of this had to go through before it came out. And not anybody at DC, nobody stopped them and said, we can't put that in there because that's not how Batman would act. He would not do that. I honestly didn't expect it to be that controversial, but some readers really didn't like the choice Batman made in Fortress Number 1 to pass up putting a beat down on people stealing big screen TVs and saving a busload of kidnapped school children and said, that's not the problem. That's a gaslight. The issue is that you had Batman try to rationalize with that by using the rhetoric of leftists. And it's just stuff. Fuck their profit margins and they have insurance. That's something Batman would never say. And again, Batman, even if he had to make a decision, he wouldn't have just said, well, fuck it, I don't care. At minimum, we've seen Batman break up crowds a million times. He don't got not one device on that motherfucking belt where he can drop that shit and say, all right, I may not can stop y'all, but I can at least break this shit the fuck up. Not one device on his fucking utility belt that'll at least, we've seen him do it already. So that's the problem, you dickhead. Gary Whitta, it ain't that, well, he chose to go save some school children. No, it's that you had him have a conversation that that's not how he would rationalize with that situation. He would never do that. He would not say what you wanted him to say, which is just what you said. It's the same exact thing. It's funny. And some people did point out, big shout out to Bounty in the Comics, John F. Trent. He pointed out different Batman panels of him showing, going at thieves and stuff like that, highlighting how, look, it's just not anything that he would do. And even in the same book, I think, they cover here in the same book, Bruce Wayne, Batman as Bruce Wayne punches someone trying to steal some jewelry. So he can't even stick to his fucking narrative. So that's what I'm saying. The spiteful guys, these are spiteful people. Anybody that makes it seem like you are crazy or you're just seeing things or you're looking for something to gripe about when you point out the issues with the industry, with these activists, it's all a gaslight. It's a potential. They're trying to gaslight you. They're trying to say that you don't see what you see. But that's why I'm here, right? To point out the facts, right? That no, this shit has been happening. It's obnoxious. It's obvious. And you guys do not care about these because it gets at the folks that you think it should get at, right? It's spiteful. You're not making good work to make good work. You see, while I'll have no problem moonwalking on a dead comic book career of a comic pro, I have no problem doing that. However, I'm not in the business of making comic books to get at the left. That would defeat the complete the purpose. If I really wanted to own them, I'm just gonna I'm gonna succeed. That in itself will own them. But I'm not gonna make material to spite them. I'm not interested in doing that. And I'm not saying that other people shouldn't do that. I'm just saying if you do that, you can go down the same issue, right? That same kind of avenue of making bad art because you were so focused, bad visual art that is, because you were so focused on trying to get at your political enemy. Don't be that guy. That shelf life isn't that hot. That's not going to last that long. You can get away with it for maybe a story or two, but if you're banking on that for being an economic model, you may be in trouble. But I'm not certainly interested in doing that. But they're spiteful. They love it. This is why anytime they see people getting mad or pointing them out, they look at it like, oh yeah, I made the right people mad. Right wingers, just again, anybody to the right of Mao is a right winger according to them. Just let it go. They have control. They're not going to relinquish this. The best thing that you can hope for is that an alternative or multiple alternatives come up and bankrupt their motherfucking ass. And then someone that cares, buys the rights to Batman. That's the best you can do. And I ain't telling you this just because I want you to give me money, because who knows? It may not be me. But it may. And yeah, if given a chance to make millions of dollars And we see all this success because, I don't know, I just gave the fucking customers what it is they want, and they done ran this motherfucker into the ground to the point to where I can actually afford to purchase them. You goddamn right I'll pull the trigger, and then Batman would just be a part of the Rippaverse. Easy. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.